Good evening, everyone. We are here to present our cloud computing project, Online Product Inventory Management. So, let's start with the overview of this project. This project can be used as an online product inventory management for an e-commerce firm. It will display all the sellers of a selected product in a selected city with the available and the total stock for the next 7 days. It will have a web page that will ask the user to select the product and the city, and it will display the required data. Now, let me introduce to our team members and their contributions to this project. So, the content delivery network was handled by Vatsal Malviya. The authorization and authentication was handled by Amol Pratap Singh. The API creation was handled by Sanchit Agarwal. The code hosting was handled by Gautam Bhatia. The storage was handled by Rishabh Sancheti, and me, Tanmay Dwivedi, handled static website hosting. So, let me now hand over the presentation to Vatsal Malviya to carry forward.
So our presentation overview, our video presentation will go like this. First, we will discuss the theoretical aspects of the presentation. Then we will go to the practical demo. Next slide. So let's start with content delivery network. So for content delivery network, we have chosen AWS CloudFront. Amazon CloudFront is a fast content delivery network that securely delivers data, videos, applications, and APIs to customers globally with low latency, high transfer speeds, all within a developer-friendly environment. A CloudFront is an integrated with AWS both physical locations that are directly connected to the AWS global infrastructure as well as other AWS services. Next slide. So let's talk about the benefits of using Amazon CloudFront. It is fast and global. The Amazon CloudFront content delivery network is massively scaled and globally distributed. The CloudFront network has more than 220 points of presence and leverages the highly resilient Amazon Backbone network for superior performance and availability for your end users. It has security at the edge. Amazon CloudFront is a highly secure content delivery network that provides both network and application level protection. Your traffic and application benefits through a variety of built-in protection such as AWS Shield Standard at no additional cost. Users can also get configurable features such as AWS Certificate Manager to create and manage custom SSL certificates at no extra cost. Additionally, next slide, it is highly programmable and has deep integration with AWS. Overall, what goes on in the reality is that if a person sitting in India wants to uh, access a particular website that has been hosted in another part of country, it will always check at the nearest local AWS server and try to find out if the it is present in the cache. If it is present in the cache, then it will the distance between the website and the user has been drastically reduced. So this is the one of the particular reason of using Amazon CloudFront for getting increasing the speed of content delivery. In the next slide, Tanmay will explain.
Thank you, Vatsal. Now, for static website hosting, we have used Amazon Web Service S3. Before diving deep into S3, let's get to know a little more about it. Amazon S3 is an object storage service that offers industry leading scalability, data availability, security, and performance. Now you might be wondering why we have chosen S3 over other services. Well, some of the very good features S3 provides is easy to use management features so we can organize our data and configure finely tuned access controls. Also, S3 is designed for 99.99% of durability and stores data for millions of applications for companies all around the world. Next slide, please. Next slide, Amul. Yes. So the benefits of using S3 over other services are industry leading performance, scalability, availability, and durability. Also, it has wide range of cost-effective storage classes, and it has unmatched security, compliance, and audit capabilities. Next slide. Now, let's dive deep and see how S3 is used. So, we use Amazon S3 for hosting a static website for saving our web pages. The AWS Cloud Formation template that we have used sets up the components that we need to host a secure static website so that we can focus more on our website's content and less on the configuration components. So we can see that how cloud formation template includes the following components. It includes S3, which creates an S3 bucket to host our static website, and then it includes CloudFront, which creates a CloudFront distribution to speed up a static website. So I'll hand over the presentation for more for to Amol for to carry forward.
Hello, sir. So I will be discussing about the authorization and authentication, and we have used AWS Cognito service to provide the authorization authentication mechanism to our web application. So it provides easy sign up and sign in, and also allow the admin to add the user themselves. It can scale to million of users and support sign in with social identity providers such as Facebook, Google, and Amazon. So moving on to the benefits of using AWS Cognito. So first one is that secure and scalable user directory. So Amazon Cognito user pools provide a secure user directory that can scale up to hundred of millions of users. As a fully managed service, user pools are easy to set up without any worries about standing up server infrastructure. The second one is sign in with social identity providers. With Amazon Cognito, the users can sign in through social identity providers such as Google, Facebook, and Amazon. The next point is multi-factor authentication. Amazon Cognito provides multi-factor authentication for an extra layer of security. Moving on to the next point is easy integration with AWS API Gateway. Since we have used AWS API Gateway to serve as a gateway between our front-end and back-end part, so AWS Cognito also can easily be integrated with AWS API Gateway, as it will only serve that request, which will have Cognito tokens in its setup. The next point is easy integration with your app. Since the AWS Cognito has its own built-in UI and easy configuration for federation identity providers, it can be integrated to add user, sign in, sign up, and access control to app in minutes. Now, Sanchit will talk about the API creation. Over to you, Sanchit.
Hello, sir. I'm Sanjit, and I'm going to explain about the AWS API Gateway, which we're using in our project. An API gateway is a component which acts as an entry point for our APIs. So, using API gateway, we can create RESTful APIs and WebSocket APIs that enable real-time two-way communication applications. So, the API request coming from the AWS goes to the API gateway. API gateway handles all the tasks involved in accepting and processing API calls, including authorization and access control. So API gateway will ensure that the user is authenticated and also ensure that the request coming is HTTPS. Here in this case, we are using RESTful APIs. So REST APIs currently have more customization, integration, and management features. So after the API request comes to the API gateway, it can forward the body of the request to the AWS Lambda. So in this case, API gateway acts as a guard for any of the requests coming to our application. Now our friend Gautam will tell us about the AWS Lambda.
Thank you, Sanchit. So for code hosting, we have used AWS Lambda. AWS Lambda refers to the serverless computing. It is a compute service that lets you run the code without managing the servers. With AWS Lambda, we can run the code for virtually any type of application or backend services, all with zero administration required. We just need to upload the code, and Lambda take care of everything required to run and scale your code with high availability. We can set up our code to automatically trigger from other AWS services or call it directly from any web or mobile data. Our code runs in parallel and process each trigger individually, scaling precisely with size of workload. By combining AWS Lambda with other AWS services, developers can also build powerful web applications that automatically scale up and down and run in a highly available configuration across multiple data centers with zero administration efforts required for scalability, backups, or multi-data center redundancy. Lambda run code and retrieve data from DynamoDB server and returns it to the user. Talking about some benefits of AWS Lambda is there are no servers to manage. AWS Lambda automatically scales the application by running the code in response to each trigger. In this, the user is charged only for the time for which the code is executed, that is for every 100 milliseconds. We can optimize the code execution time by choosing the right memory size for your function. Now Rishabh will tell you more about DynamoDB servers.
Thank you, Gautam. So, AWS DynamoDB, also known as Dynamo Database or DDB, is a fully managed NoSQL database services provided by Amazon Web Services. DynamoDB is known for low latencies and scalabilities. According to AWS, DynamoDB makes it simple and cost effective to store and retrieve any amount of data as well as server any level of request traffic. Next. So these are the benefits of DynamoDB. First is performance at scale. DynamoDB is a key value and document database that can support tables of virtual any size with horizontal scaling, and this enable DynamoDB to scale to more than 10 TDL requests per day with peaks peak of greater than 20 million requests per second over petabyte of storage. Next. So this is the second features, serviceless. With DynamoDB, there are no servers to provision, patch, or manage, and no software to install, maintain, or operate. DynamoDB automatically scales table to adjust for capacity and maintenance, performance with zero administration, availability, fault tolerance are built in, eliminating the need to architect your application for these capabilities. Next. So this is the third feature, enterprise ready. DynamoDB is built for mission critical workloads, including support for ACID transactions for broad set of applications that required complex business logics. DynamoDB helps secure your data with encryption and continuously back up your data for protection with granted reliability, thorough a serviceless level agreement. Thank you. Now Amol will continue.
Yeah, so now moving on to the demo part. So this is our DynamoDB table. So we have created a table that which is acting as our data source, and we have populated some dummy data in it. So this is the dummy data that we have populated in it, and it will be used to show on the on the application. So this service is taken care of by Rishabh. Then we have also created a AWS Lambda function known as the product capacity tracker function. So, and we have uploaded our backend code in it. So, and this will be triggered when this will be triggered by our API gateway. So we have created an API, and when the request comes to the API gateway, it will trigger this particular Lambda function. Then we have also created this API gateway known as the product capacity tracker API, and this will be used to trigger our Lambda function. So I have deployed this particular API in the production stage, and we have got this invoke URL. So we have copied this particular URL and we have pasted it in our front end code. So the front end code will be sending the request to this particular API gateway, and this will act as a gateway then and will authorize the requests that are coming in, and then it will trigger the Lambda function. Then for the AWS CloudFront part, we have also created this CloudFront distribution that will act as a fast content delivery network. So this service is taken care of by Vatsal. Then for the AWS Cognito, we have created a user pool. So all the users that are authorized to get into our application will be created from here. So we can create user from here, and then we can send them the credential through which they can log in. So this service is taken care of by me, Amol. And then moving on to the last part, which is the S3, we have created this S3 bucket known as the product capacity tracker bucket. And I have uploaded all the content of our static website into it. I have also configured it to work it as a static website hosting, and we have got a invoke URL. So if we click on this particular URL, then it will land to our product. Then we have to log in here. And then after logging in, it will land to our main application main page. Then this is our product capacity tracker main page, and then this is the product list. So when we select any particular product, let's say product 2, then it will list all the cities that are delivering this particular product with the available and total capacity for the next 7 days. So let's take an example for Delhi on day 21/11. So the available capacity is 1400 units, while the total capacity is 2300 units. The green color indicates that the available capacity is more than 50% of the total capacity. The yellow color indicates that it is between 25 to 50%, and the red color indicates that it is less than 25%. And if we click on that particular city, it will list all the sellers that are selling that particular product in that particular city. So finally, this is our product, and it can be used as online product inventory management by any e-commerce firm. So we can log it out from here. So that's all from our side. Thank you.